All right, well, let's move on to our player ratings, and let's start off with Vicario. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. I mean, it was a fairly quiet day for Vicario, to be honest. I mean, he did everything that came his way to a really high level. I wasn't really worried about anything that he did. I mean, if I'm nitpicking and gonna really mark him down on anything that he did, there was one moment where he could have caught it and he punched it, but that's like literally just nitpicking. So I was very happy with Vicario yesterday.
I know what moment you're talking about, and I think he made a good decision because he was absolutely hammering it down with rain, and I think if he tries to catch it, it could end up in a bit of trouble. So I think he did probably the right decision to punch. He made one save, I think, throughout the whole game. I think it was from Christie in the first half, outside the box for the shot, and he palmed it away, and actually palmed it away from goal this time rather than back into danger. So that was good. And I actually think he was a lot calmer again in possession. There were moments where he was being pressed and he was turning on the ball and strikers are pressing him, and he was able to again play it to a teammate. He's not afraid to play a pass in between the lines when the strikers are kind of trying to press him and cover the ground. So again, he's starting to improve with the ball at his feet, which is something we criticised him for first game or a couple of games. So definitely, I think Vicario is growing in confidence game by game at the moment.
I completely agree. The only reason I gave him a 7 was because it was a fairly not a busy day for him, let's just say. In the second half, he hardly had anything to do.
Did he even make a save in the second half? I don't remember.
But there was this one moment, wasn't there, from Vicario where he picks up the ball and a Bournemouth striker is bearing down on him, and he's looking the other way, and he just quickly slips it to the left-hand side. I think it was to Van de Ven, and it was just so calm, silky, and something you want to see from your keeper, especially just coming into the Premier League. But let's move on to Pedro Porro. 8 all round from us. Another really good display from Pedro. I thought defensively, I don't think he put a foot wrong, to be honest, the whole game. He was aggressive, he was winning his duels, and going forward as well, he was impacting things, although I probably want to see a bit more quality from him going forward, but I'm very happy with the way he's defending at the moment.
Yeah, I actually thought it was a bit of a defensive performance from Porro. There were a couple of occasions we saw him in the penalty box, and Maddison was very unlucky not to play him through on goal. It was very close, but I thought defensively pretty much faultless. He pretty much marked Clive out the game. I thought in the build-up play he was really good. He made some what I liked about him as well, when he takes the ball in the half space, he's not afraid to do like a little dink into the centre of the pitch if he can see a free man and he believes he can pull it off. And whereas Emerson likes to keep things simple, he's not. Porro's not afraid to go for the ambitious ball because he knows he's got the quality to pull it off, and he was doing that a lot yesterday. I thought his passing was really good. I thought it was really good in the build-up. I thought defensively he was on point. Another solid display at him at right back.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, he definitely has the shirt now, for sure, because there was question marks, weren't there, last game after the good performance against Manchester United. There were still question marks, but after that performance, I think he's our starting right back for now. And let's move on to Cuti Romero. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8, and I thought it really was a sensational performance from Cuti, to be honest, at his aggressive best. I mean, there was this one challenge where he just wraps himself around. I think it was Solanke. I can't remember who.
It was Semenyo. He put us on a counter.
Yeah, and Semenyo looked at it, and Romero looked like he had no right to get that ball whatsoever, and he kind of did a sliding challenge around him. 100% got the ball. I mean, I've seen a few people on social media claiming that was a foul, but no chance for me. I thought it was an absolutely brilliant challenge. He was lunging in there. He was getting the ball time and time again. He was setting us up on attacks, and that one moment in the middle of the park where he just battered the ball against a Bournemouth player, it just made me absolutely crack up. And this relationship between him and Van de Ven is really flourishing now.
Yeah, another phenomenal display from Cuti Romero. Aggressive but calm and composed and controlled, I think, is what it was controlled aggression. What I liked from Cuti Romero wasn't diving into stupid challenges. When he did go in for a challenge, he won the ball. What I love about Romero, similar to what I said about Van de Ven, when he wins the ball, he wins it back for his team. He doesn't just win a tackle and it goes somewhere else. He'll win the ball and then we'll have possession back. And that's what I love about Romero. And I thought he didn't put a foot wrong yesterday. I think as well, in the box, he made about 5 clearances. So when there were crosses coming in, he was there to be counted as well with his aerial ability. Another brilliant display for the start of the season for Romero for me.
I'm just quickly checking. I don't think he's picked up a booking this season, has he? Or maybe in the first game he did. No, he didn't, because he went off.
He went off, yeah.
Has he not picked up a booking? No, he hasn't picked up a booking in all 3 games so far this
booking
season.
For Romero. That shows a new side to him already.
Yeah,
and maybe that vice captaincy, that responsibility, maybe make him think about picking up all these silly bookings all the time.
Yeah. Let's move on to his partner, Mickey van der Ven, 8 all round. And I was so impressed with van der Ven yesterday. As I mentioned in the match review, I thought in that moment when it was really difficult for us, where Bournemouth were looking to get control in the game and we were losing it a bit, he really stood up to the challenge there. Aerial ability, we were worried about maybe what he can bring because his aerial stats weren't great coming in to Spurs when we analysed him. And I thought he was dominant in the air yesterday. He was winning so many duels and so many important challenges at the right times for us. And he was setting us up on attacks. I mean, I was so impressed with van der Ven yesterday.
And I love it when he strides forward.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a breath of fresh air seeing it. Like, how many times did we have a left centre-back over the last few years who've been able, since Jan basically, been able to do that, just stride into the space. And
he is literally a Jan regen.
But he's taller than Jan. Yeah. He's probably quicker than Jan as well. But again, on the ball, so calm and composed. He's been like that ever since he's come here. But his defensive ability, just sliding tackles are on point. That one time where there was a through ball looking like Solanke was going to be through on goal, and he just slides in, intercepts the ball, and keeps possession for the team and sets us up on another attack. Absolutely fantastic again. I think him next to Romero, they've been pretty much faultless so far when they've played together, and it's been a brilliant start to his Spurs career so far.
Yeah, and the fans were absolutely loving him yesterday. Songs were coming out for him every second, the old Van der Vaart tune. But let's move on to Destiny Udogie. 8 all round for him. Another sensational display. Like I said before, I think he is probably the best performing left back in the league right now. Got his first, was it his first assist? Yeah, I think it was his first assist of the season yesterday with a lovely surging run and a 1-2 with Heung-min Son, and just about kept the ball in to tee up Dejan Kulusevski. But it wasn't just that. I thought his defensive display was on point, and going forward and backwards, I mean, nobody knows how to handle him, to be honest. And he's really taken to this league like he's been here for 5 years.
Yeah, agreed. And it's amazing to see such a young player have that confidence. But sometimes when you have a player like Udogie, he's really physical, he's fast, he's strong, but sometimes they can lack that technical ability, and sometimes their physicality makes up for it. But he seems to marry both brilliantly, and he doesn't just have the physicality to get to the byline, he has the quality to get a cutback as well. He doesn't have the quality just to run in behind, but he also has the presence of mind to hold the ball up, wait for Sonny to make his movement, then do a pass and move and do a nice 1-2. He has those moments in him, so that's why he's just perfect for this inverted role, because he has that presence of mind and that ability in the centre, not to just continue like what we criticise Regular for, just continually running 100 miles an hour all the time. He can slow things down. He can be patient as well. And I thought again a brilliant display from Udogie, who's just been phenomenal at left back every game.
Yeah, he really has. Let's move on to Yves Bissouma. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. I thought first half he was absolutely brilliant, to be honest. Obviously, he had his hand in our first goal. Lovely shift and pass to Pape Matar Sarr. Air of Dembele in that movement. And air of Dembele, and every time he pretty much picks up the ball and does that little shift, and you just can't get the ball off him. So I think first half was unbelievable from Bissouma, but I did feel second half he was starting to tire. His passing was a bit sloppy, and a couple of sloppy moments on the ball, and he picked up that yellow card, and he didn't get taken off much long after that. So I thought second half was a bit of a downgrade in his performance, but don't take away anything from a brilliant first half display.
Yeah, I would have probably marked him down if he stayed on any longer, to be honest, because he was only on for what, in the second half for 15 minutes or so. But I thought in that first half, he was again like another 9 out of 10. I thought he was imperious again, involved in that first goal with a brilliant move. And I just thought he was so hard to stop. Yet again, he was just putting in one of those like unbelievable displays. He did lose his way a bit in the second half. I actually felt it was a bit unlucky because I felt like on a couple of occasions he was fouled and the referee didn't give it for one reason or another, and they went on to a turnover to Bournemouth and they went on our goal. But yeah, he did get that yellow card, which was a really stupid yellow. He was never getting the ball in that situation, and it was a cynical foul, and that was kind of a consequence of him losing his way, maybe being a bit leggy or for some reason lacking energy. He was rightfully taken off, but for most of his time on the ball, he was largely excellent. Yeah,
I agree with that. The only reason I marked him down 1 mark is because I just felt like in the second half he didn't come out and perform like he did in the first half. So you got to say it how you see it at the end of the day. And Pape Matar Sarr, Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. Obviously a brilliant assist. He really was. That is an assist of high quality to find Maddison running behind the defender there and just pick him out with an absolute pinpoint pass. And I thought he put himself about really well in that first half. Again, in the second half, I felt he was tiring and got taken off fairly early. But look, he's young and you do expect that kind of stuff creeping into his game. But to come into a Premier League team like he has done this season, I've got nothing but praise for him, to be honest. And he had a couple of shots as well on target throughout the game. He's really getting into nice positions and he's showing great passing ability on the ball as well. So great display again from Pape.
And that's what I love about Pape Matar Sarr. Again, when we signed him, there was a lot of talk about, off the ball, he's got loads of energy, he non-stop running. Ange was saying how he never stops running, and that's a weapon you can use. But clearly, that's not all he is. He's clearly a very good technical player. He takes up really good attacking positions as well. He seems to find space in the box where and on the edge of the box where other players aren't picking him up. He had if you notice as well, the assist he had was his left foot, his weaker foot. He managed to do a pinpoint through ball to Maddison, who scored. He's really starting to contribute to the attack as well as doing those non-negotiables, which is his defensive ability as well. And he's becoming this all-round midfielder. And it's so exciting for such a young midfielder as well, how he's developing. And he's going from strength to strength at the moment. Yes, he got a bit leggy in the second half, and he did rightly get taken off when we needed a bit more energy in the centre. And it helped the team when he did come off. But again, when he was on the pitch, largely excellent.
Let's move on to James Maddison. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. Really good display from Maddison. In the first half, he was just the orchestrator of everything going forward. Missed a chance early on after 15 minutes, but then put that right about 10 minutes later, or however long it was, with a lovely finish into the bottom corner. Everything that Spurs were going forward was going through him. He was just floating in between those lines and putting in a really, really top display for us. And defensively, he was doing a really good job as well, winning the ball back time and time again. Second half, I don't think he was as strong as he was in the first half, but still an unbelievable display.
Yeah, what I loved about Maddison was his deep line playmaking ability in this game, which maybe hasn't been on show as much in the other games. His ability to pick up the ball in deeper areas and commit Bournemouth players, and it also allow us to kind of relieve the pressure from Bournemouth, who were pressing really high. Him picking up those balls and driving into the space and opening up the space in Bournemouth's midfield was absolutely phenomenal. When he did pick up the ball in the final third as well, he was as clinical as ever. Obviously, should have scored a goal before. He did score eventually. Played a lovely through ball to Richarlison, who should have scored. He also had nearly found Pedro Porro in the box as well. With that pass was just off. In the second half, he just allowed us to maintain control with some really good passing ability and good decision making. And a number of times he was able to set Sonny off on that left hand side a few times as well, and through the centre. So I thought it was a masterful display from James Maddison, and again it was something that Bournemouth just couldn't deal with.
Yeah, and let's move on to the captain, Heung-min Son. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. I don't know what's going on here, but I've marked 1 down from you, every single player. But look, I thought Heung-min Son was really good yesterday. He was really selfless in the way he was playing yesterday. 4 key passes on the day, which I thought was brilliant stuff. It was his 1-2 as well with Destiny Udogie to lead us to that second goal. And when he moved centrally, I actually thought he looked even better when he moved centrally, and he was causing Bournemouth no ends of problems, to be honest. And he probably did more at centre forward with the little time that he had than Richarlison did the whole game. Yeah,
and I thought it was another really strong display from Heung-min Son. Really creative, I think, on the day. 4 key passes, which is more than anyone else on the pitch. I actually thought on the left-hand side again, I predicted it in the preview, I thought he was going to give Max Aarons a really tough time, and I thought he did. Max Aarons really struggled to deal with him on that left-hand side, and he was getting a lot of joy taking him on and running him behind as well. And as you say, once he moves centrally, he looks so sharp, and he seems to have that kind of build-up play a lot better than Richarlison. And you saw that little flick to Udogie, that was case in point of how effective he can be in those little positions. But you saw Son as well doing like Harry Kane-esque through balls occasionally once he picks the ball up from deep. Because he's got a left and right foot, he can pick a pass really accurately. And that was really, really good to see again from him and Son. And after a very disappointing first game of the season, I think his next 2 games have been really, really encouraging. Another really good display from him, in my opinion.
The only frustrating thing I would say about Son yesterday is, again, I've been saying it after every game about him and Maddison. Maddison put it right yesterday, but I would like to see Son just take more shots, because there were still opportunities yesterday where Son could have pulled the trigger. He goes for the extra pass, and we know Sonny's got it in his locker. just pull the trigger a bit more, man. Why not?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's move on to Dejan Kulusevski. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. Obviously, he did really well for the goal, where getting in front of his man, really physical battle there, and a really lovely finish into the bottom corner. I mean, I wasn't that impressed with his display yesterday. I thought he was putting himself about and getting past men quite well. But again, it's what he does after it, in my opinion, that really frustrates me. But look, it was better than what we have seen in the past couple of games, but I still want to see more from Dejan.
Yeah, good finish for the goal, have to say. It wasn't an easy finish to find that far corner the way he did, so I'm really happy with that. I thought he was looking a bit more confident, especially in that second half. I thought he was linking up really well with Porro, and I thought, and also Sarr and Højbjerg when he came on. I thought they had some really nice interchanges together on the right hand side. Didn't create too much, which maybe you want more from Kulusevski, but I think overall a really strong display, and hopefully it's a sign of him getting that confidence back.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, right, he's our most performing in terms of output out of the front line. 1 goal and 1 assist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 1 goal.
1 goal and 1 assist already so far out of 3 games. And a lot of people, including myself, have knocked Dejan Kulusevski, but maybe we need to chill out a bit because he's actually producing in the goal front. So let's move on to Richarlison, the final of the starting 11. 5s all round from us, unfortunately. Look, I thought he was okay in the first half with his link-up play. Obviously, he misses that gilt-edged chance in the first half where I think if he puts that away, you could be seeing a different game from Rishi, but you could really see that chance was grating on him all game, and he was getting so frustrated in that second half, especially where misplaced passes, tripping over the ball, and shoulders slumped, and you could see that body language was just terrible from Richarlison. And I don't know what needs to happen with him, but I think the fans need to help him out in these kind of situations, and we need to support him instead of berate him, and support him into good form, because I think that's the only way he's going to get there.
Yeah, he's clearly in his own head at the moment. It's clearly affecting him, his own form, not just the goal-scoring record. And you saw in that second half, he was kind of beating himself up a bit with a couple of moments, which unfortunately doesn't help the team and it doesn't help him. And he was rightfully taken off. But I thought in the first half, at least, he was getting in the good positions. He was getting chances. His link-up play was a bit better. I actually think in a weird way, for that chance he missed, he did really well. Although he probably could have taken it earlier and just got the shot off earlier and made sure he got a shot off, I guess. But the way he actually took it past that defender and then got the touch and then the touch past the keeper was actually pretty impressive. But unfortunately, that second touch was just a bit too strong. And he wasn't able to, and he allowed the defender to get back, and he'll be a bit.
It's a great challenge, by the way.
It was a great challenge, but the way he took it past that defender was super. Like that nutmeg, I don't know how he did that in such a tight space. That was like really impressive. But unfortunately,
it was like from the sublime to the disastrous.
Yeah, exactly. that was it for Richarlison. He also had a really good chance, I felt, from a free kick when Maddison floats it to the back post. And you know what? It's an open goal. If he gets on target, it's a goal. And unfortunately, it was just the way things are going for Richarlison. It was a side netting, albeit it did come in pretty quickly. But another great ball from Maddison. But yeah, look. I'm confident once he gets a goal or once something happens for him, the confidence will start to flow. He's clearly a confidence player. And we've seen it even with Son. He can go through really bad periods. We've seen it before. Like he goes through really bad periods where nothing's going for him and he's looking at, are we ever going to get the Son back from before? He can go through like 10 games periods where he's not looking at it and then he can have a streak. So let's hope Richarlison can turn it around sooner rather than later. At the moment, I just feel like he's not like helping the team with some of his body language. But look, I think this is going to be some good man management from Postecoglou to get the arm round shoulder and just keep believing in him. I'm sure he'll turn it around. I
don't know if you noticed this on TV, if they showed it, but as the players gathered in the centre circle after the game, just before they came over to the fans, you could see Richarlison was really down, and his head after the game, and because they all came on just before they came over to the fans, and Richarlison's head was completely down. You could see like about 3 or 4 Spurs players just going up to him, consoling him. So it's really affecting him at the moment.
Well, you see Maddison, I think Richarlison must have put out an Instagram post yesterday. I didn't see it, but I saw Maddison replied to it saying, "You worked your bollocks off, mate. The goals will start to come. Just keep your head up." So I'm sure they're all encouraging him.
Yeah. Let's move on to the substitutes. Ivan Perisic came on. We gave him a 7s all round, and I thought Perisic was really impressive when he came on yesterday. He was one of the big reasons why I thought we gained control back into that game. He was a bit relentless on that left-hand side. He was taking on his man. He was getting crosses into the box, and I thought it was probably his best display of the season so far.
Yeah, another really good cameo, I thought, from Perisic. He's starting to make an impact off the bench pretty consistently now. He was involved in the second goal pretty immediately as soon as he came on. And I thought everything he did with a touch of class. Whereas I thought like last season, he had way too many touches where he's just passing it inside blindly to no one and giving the ball away really needlessly. I think he seemed to have calmed that down. And now all of a sudden he's doing things with a purpose and not just, and when his passes are first time, they seem to be accurate and with quality. And that's what I like about him. I thought he was giving, again, Aaron's a really tough time on that left-hand side when he came on. Was unlucky not to score, but he had a shot with his left-hand side. And as well, a lot of the times he was getting into the box and looking to be an option as well. The only negative for Perisic, I'll say, I wouldn't say it was lucky not to get sent off, but it was just a stupid thing to do. He kind of pushed Aaron's in the face. There was a VAR check.
Why wasn't he sent off for that? Because I saw it back.
Because when he pushed him, it kind of rolled from his shoulder up into his face. It wasn't like kind of a push in the face. So look, he's fortunate. He gives the referee a decision to make, doesn't he? And if he is given a red card, there's nothing he can say about it. So he's a bit petulant, especially for a 35-year-old to do that is really uncharacteristic of Perisic. So something to watch out for. But luckily he wasn't sent off and it was a good cameo in the end.
Yeah, Pierre came on as well around a similar time where we regained control into that game. And I thought he as well was vital for us recontrolling. 7s all round from Pierre. And what he did do was really well was his off-the-ball work, winning his duels, winning the ball back time and time again. He looked sharp as well on the ball with his quick passing. So I thought Højbjerg did a really good job for the team when he came on.
Yeah, and I think he actually came on and moved in the 6, and Basuma moved over a bit into the 8 occasionally. I think it worked pretty well. He helped calm down the situation. I thought defensively he was really good. And as you say, his passing was a lot crisper. Obviously, he doesn't provide what like Basuma can do in that position, like with his drives forward and his dribbling ability. But what he did do good, the simple things, he did pretty effectively. And it was a really good cameo from Højbjerg.
Moving on to Giovanni Lo Celso. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him a 5. Interesting, that one. It's actually interesting with Giovanni Lo Celso because I was speaking to people inside the stadium and they had a pretty much similar feeling to me about how he performed yesterday. And then I spoke to a bunch of people that watched it on TV and they all thought he had a really good cameo. So it's just interesting how people see things. But for me, Giovanni Lo Celso, every time he got the ball in really good areas, he just wasn't picking up those passes that we saw from him in the preseason games. And there were opportunities for him to do it, but they were just sloppy passes, either a bit too weak or they found the defender intercepted them. But I thought he was getting in good positions and in amongst it, but I just felt his quality was a bit poor.
Yeah, I felt that he just helped retain control of the game, and I thought his touches were a bit quality. What I didn't like, I guess, was that when Maddison has that ability like to turn like in any direction, I felt like Lo Celso, whereas in pre-season he had that ability to be on the half turn and move forward. I felt like he was a bit apprehensive in this game, but I did feel like he didn't do much wrong. I felt like when he was in the opposition's half, he was able to just keep possession. I felt like he was helped kill off the game. Didn't do anything special, but I just felt like as part of the team, he added a bit more control, so he was okay.
Yeah, I mean, probably 5 is a bit harsh. I would say 6 is probably what he deserved yesterday, to be honest. But let's move on to last but not least, Ollie Skipp. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. Again, Ollie Skipp came on with a good mentality, running around the place, putting himself about, and helped us close the game out, really, but without too much quality.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good. Again, added that energy and allowed us to retain control of the game. Wasn't really caught out by any of the Bournemouth midfielders. When going forwards, didn't provide too much, I guess, but at that point the game was pretty much dead. We did kind of stop creating too many chances, but I thought he had a decent cameo, Skipp, and provided well for the team.
And last but not least, big Ange Postecoglou, 9s all round from us. He is the reason why this club has just a flip 180 on the pitch, off the pitch, in terms of mentality of the fan base. And, the fans just did not stop singing yesterday. And like 80% of the songs were all about Ange Postecoglou, to be honest. And I thought we started the game as we meant to go on. We were heavily dominant in that first half, creating chance after chance. We really should have gone on at halftime with a bigger lead. Second half, Bournemouth came into the game and recognised that and how we were losing control in the game, and he brought on his 2 most experienced players, and that completely shifted the momentum back into our favour. So he made the changes at the right time, picked the right team at the beginning of the game as how dominant we were, and we came out well more than deserved victors.
Yeah, I think the tactical setup was absolutely perfect. He made a few tweaks, which made us a bit more effective in beating Bournemouth's press. I thought when we started to slip and lose a bit of control of the game, he made the subs at the perfect time. I think we pretty much maintained control throughout the whole 90 minutes, apart from a few brief periods. And I think he managed the game impeccably. I think the subs were perfectly timed. I think the tactics were spot on. I think it was a brilliant... I think he managed the game really, really good. And as you say, the most important thing is that he's getting that connection with the fans. He's completely flipped the club in a positive mood, and he's got to get massive credit for that. And the away end was buzzing yesterday. You could hear it on TV, and you were there as well yesterday. So more brilliant stuff from Ange Postecoglou.
And once again, like the Manchester United game, he was the last one off that pitch yesterday. The players came over to the away end. After that, Ange came over, and he was just there lapping it up for quite a while, actually. Just there telling the fans to get louder and all that kind of stuff. And then he walked out to be the last man on that pitch once again.
Just simple things like that go so far.
Yeah, 100%.
When it comes to fans.
100%. And those simple things, those small little tweaks are what he's changing. And you can really see that connection. I keep saying it, but it's building game on game now, this connection between the team and the fans. And Ange Postecoglou has said it many a times that the fans come first, the fans are the biggest judges, all these kind of things, where we never really heard this from previous managers. Like each manager, like Mourinho and Conte, just made it about themselves every time. Ange just doesn't make it about himself. He makes it about the fans. He makes it about the players on that football pitch. And I'm here for it. I think it's absolutely brilliant the way he's managing this club. And long may it continue.